I couldn't even tell you which employees at Kaizen went to university or not. A lot of the time, what I'm looking for is that raw talent where, of curiosity,
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Growing Pains, a Kaizen podcast. I'm Lottie and I'm the Influencer Marketing Manager, and this is Pete Rees-Campbell.
Hello again.
Hi.
How you been?
I'm all right, thank you. What's brought you here today?
Well, I've run an agency for a number of years, and I'm always seeing a lot of stuff out there on social about like, oh wow, big achievement, client win, people win, look how amazing my life is, 7-figure salary, big car. But I think the reality of it is that to get to those moments, you've got to go through the highest of highs and lowest of lows. Mm-hmm. And there's just not enough support out there for entrepreneurs to understand what it's like and how you overcome some of the challenging things or how you even get started in your career.
Mm-hmm. Which is the topic of today's episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about university, degrees, starting your career in marketing, digital marketing.
Yeah, looking forward to sharing some tips on it.
Let's do it.
All right.
So, you are obviously a CEO of a very successful company now.
Oh, thank you very
successful.
much.
Would you be able to share a little bit of how you went from? I think I read somewhere that you kind of started in your bedroom with websites or something.
Yeah.
How on earth did you get from websites in a bedroom to a wonderful, huge agency?
Well, I still work from my bedroom now, so it's from hero to zero, I think. But I was fascinated by computers when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. They just seem so interesting to me because where I grew up, at least in Leicester and in a school with no budget, it was just it's like seeing a rare Pokemon, and it was just it was just a fascinating, shiny thing to me. So I just begged and begged and begged that my mom got one, basically. Okay. And she eventually did, under the guise of doing it for her own work. But in reality, I just took over that thing, really.
Amazing.
And I got those old AOL discs used to get in the post to do dial-up internet. Mm-hmm. And they just couldn't use the phone for hours. And I was just delving through it, just looking at things. And I just got interested in the idea of making my own thing that could be on the internet. So I got a book from the library and I started to teach myself HTML code so that I can make my own website on South Park Rally for the PlayStation 1 and the best cheats and techniques for the game. And that sort of then just went off, and it was just always just for fun and just because I wanted to put something out there. I just then made a website on The Simpsons and then The Sims and Roller Coaster Tycoon and all the rest of it.
Some of my favourite passions as a child.
Yeah, they're very childlike, but and some of the websites even still exist now. But I think something clicked when I was then I was approached one day. Ask Jeeves, which is a very much of a throwback. Mm-hmm. The butler himself emailed me and said, basically, if you send us clicks and searches to our website, we'll give you 2p for every search.
Amazing.
And some light bulb just went in my head that I was like, I can make money off having these websites about things that are just little interesting parts of my life, you know? And the Simpsons one got the most traction because obviously it's a global phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And I just started basically then from there, just learning how to create communities around the things that I liked with forums and stuff like that, and then finding ways to also monetize them, not because my goal was to monetize, but because it would help me pay for the server bills and the hosting. Here I am as a 13-year-old who's going to pay a £300 a month web hosting bill. I needed all the money that Ask Jeeves would send my way. And it was just through proxy of going through that process, I just started learning about now what we call digital marketing. But to me it was just if I send these guys clicks, I'll get pennies off it, which is affiliate marketing. Yeah. If I send traffic to Amazon, then they all give me cuts of each sale, affiliate marketing as well. And then one day I was just how do I, when someone searches video game fan site or Simpsons fan site, how the heck do I end up at the top of Google?
Yeah, sure.
It's this problem-solving nature of it. I've always been fascinated by the technology. If I see a problem and I want to contribute, I will then put my focus into doing it. Mm-hmm. And then along the way, I start picking up these techniques to do money for it. So I figured that my big career was going to be in an internet entrepreneur, Sure. And I actually, got to a point where I built a website around a video game series called Kingdom Hearts, which is very very lame.
I know it. I do know it.
It's very lame. It's very cool to those that like it.
It's lame, but it's cool to those who like it.
But it just gave me this opportunity, this wonderful opportunity where there was such a big interest in the video game franchise that it just generated this community of hundreds of thousands of people. Mm-hmm. And it became like the go-to journalistic news source for on the game. You know, I used to get leaks from Japan and get like letters, and within 24 hours a lawyer's going to take me down because I leaked like a video from the game.
So exciting as a teenager.
Yeah, when you're 16 at this time, it was pretty exciting, and just through that process, it just learned this nature of like I like writing, I like designing stuff, I like communications and building communities around it. You know, I had no idea at that time that I was doing, you know, very basic versions of like social media and digital PR and this kind of thing. And I thought what I'd do is I would launch, I was going to go for it. I was not going to go to university, and I was going to put my heart and soul into being this big internet entrepreneur. So I started working on like a dynamic video game Wikipedia.
Okay.
And I poured about £4,000 into it at 17.
It's a lot of affiliate links, isn't it?
Yeah. I put a lot of time and effort into it at 17, and then I just realised that this was $1 million business.
Okay.
And I didn't have $1 million.
No, of course.
I'd spent every penny that website had ever made me. So I was like, okay, put this on hold. I decided to go to university. I loved my college experience of doing graphic design, and they taught me a lot about web design. They took the scrappy knowledge I have and gave me a real foundation to it. And I decided to go to university. The problem is with my university, and I think you find this a lot of them, is that they were just so behind the times. They had no idea what internet marketing is.
Well, this was incredibly progressive at the time, you know, let alone now.
Yeah.
Let alone then.
Yeah, this is 2008. It was 2006 to 2009.
The internet
this period
was still figuring itself out a little bit then. So
Yeah. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg had it figured out. But yeah, for the majority of people, it still wasn't an accessible thing. Smartphones obviously changed the game. But yeah, I just found when I went to university, I was just like, I thought a degree in graphic design would teach me the principles of advertising or internet marketing, because this is the life that I was already living.
Yeah, sure.
Instead, we were taught fine art classes, which is a very interesting thing, but it didn't reflect a career-based opportunity for me. So I spent a lot of that time actually then just not going. I just stopped going to classes. You know, there's literally a class where like 2 years in, they started a web design class. And because I was a little prat at the time, you know, I knew more than the teacher. And I was like, oh, that's not how you do this CSS code.
But you were wonderful student.
No, I was an idiot. I was a complete idiot, to be honest. And he sent me out and he was like, well, if you know it, there's no point coming. And I was like, okay.
Fair enough.
And, you know, what was one good thing about universities, they had a part of it which was like in-work placements.
Okay.
And that I just shine to. I'm a very practical sort of learner. I learn on the job. I learn by doing. I learn by tinkering and figuring things out. And that gave me my first experience working for a social media company. Okay. And although that business didn't work out, the entrepreneur today is a very successful entrepreneur running a property business. And those opportunities and the early networking just started to make me realise like what it could be if I did start my own business.
So you saw the potential.
Yeah.
You had to kind of figure out exactly how you're going to make it work for you.
Yeah. But the reality is that, I continued attending university. I didn't get much from the fulfillment of the course. The experience was very fulfilling in terms of the friends that I built. Yeah. Friends that I built like robots. The friends that I made. I met my wife there.
Sure you didn't build them on a
No. Possible. You know, I met my wife at university. And actually, thanks to them, I got an opportunity at a graduate show where they let me for my final degree part to build and design a website, which is what I was experts in.
Yeah.
And at the graduate show, I then got a lot of attention because employees are looking for progressive people in design. I got the job through it, you know? So although I felt that the course education part was way behind the times, it gave me the opportunity to actually get into business and get into careers. And I worked for basically a couple of agencies as a web designer, discovered that they were trying to start up internet marketing teams. I joined those teams, and that gave me the foundational knowledge over a series of 5 years and 3 different jobs of doing internet and digital marketing for big corporate clients, really.
So you've kind of outlined some pros and cons to university. I feel the same. It's, you know, I went to university. I didn't go for the course. I went to get me into London. Yeah. Couldn't have afforded to live in London without a student loan to get me there. And it put me in situations and made me friends and gave me experiences I would never have got if I hadn't have gone to university.
100%.
Which is great, but I also recognise totally your point where when you're working in such a progressive and constantly evolving industry, the course leaders naturally struggle to keep up.
Yeah.
So I guess with that in mind, when it comes to hiring entry-level roles at Kaizen, I mean, how do you prioritise
Yeah.
How do you pick the candidates that you think are best? Do you look for specific degrees? Do you look for work experiences, placements? Like, what's your kind of approach when it comes to hiring
I couldn't even tell you which employees at Kaizen went to university or not. There's just, if you want to be an incredible marketeer, it comes down to a raw set of soft skills that you have built as a result of the way you're raised, the experiences that you have, the culture that you're from. And a lot of the time what I'm looking for is that raw talent where, of curiosity, you just look at something and you're just the kind of person that used to annoy the shit out of your family by asking way too many questions out of it,
Probably called precocious growing up, that
one
too.
Maybe, yeah. And that sense of curiosity, it was like an itch that you had to scratch and you had to figure out how did it work, And just throughout your life, you've just had experiences where you've like, I'm interested about that. I'm going to go figure that thing out. And I don't care what anyone else tells me about whether I can do that or not do that. And and it's that kind of personality of curiosity of where you see something, you want to figure it out, but then going further than that, you spot the problems or the flaws with it. And you're then the kind of person that's like, well, I know a better way here. So also the other quality is that you've probably got a lot of opinions and it's probably hard to shut you up. My mother always said to me, Peter, like you're a shy kid, but when then someone asks you a question, you don't shut the up. This is why we're doing these videos, right? Ask your opinion, I'll give you an answer. And that just raw drive of curiosity to then think I can improve upon this, and then you just go and do it, no questions asked. That sense of proactivity is probably the most important one when it comes to being an incredible marketeer, I think.
Sure.
And it's certainly what has driven me. And it's what attracts me to the kind of team that we work with, I think that a university can give you some of that sort of like knowledge around these are the types of marketing that exist. Yeah. These are some of the principles and case studies that apply to them. But they're just tools in a box. They aren't actually going to be the things that make you a great person in marketing,
Am I right in thinking that part of Kaizen actually means like continuous, is it self-improvement or self-learning?
Yeah. So Kaizen is like a literal translation of the word improvement in Japanese. Yeah.
Is that why you named it?
Yeah, partly. Yeah, I did business studies at school, and we learned the manufacturing process of Kaizen, which is about a stop and go process, particularly in Toyota. I didn't know what to call the company, if I'm honest. I was just going to call it Pete Campbell Limited at the time. And I just was like, I'm a nerd. I like video games. Oh, Japanese word, Kaizen. And it just stuck in my head. And it also just fits branding-wise, like SEO, continuous improvement.
Yeah, no, it works. Especially when I'm hearing you talk about what you look for in potential for candidates.
It's just, everything. I'm always looking for someone who like self-taught, self-learn. I absolutely respect folks that go to university and use those as opportunities to open doors, but also get those foundational knowledge and things. But it's that raw drive and curiosity that actually makes you stand out in any career, not just the fact that you've read a bunch of books. It's how you apply that knowledge that actually makes the difference, I think.
So what were your opinions on kind of candidates who come to you with side hustles or, really developed interests or community they've started building?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I find that absolutely, I see myself in them because throughout my entire full-time working career prior to this, I was always doing little projects on the side, building websites or running communities and I want to encourage it, like that the reason I have what I have now is because those curiosities and hobbies and side hustles ended up allowing me to pursue the things I really want to do in life, and I think it's a great demonstration of proactiveness. And it's, if every person that works for our business had a side hustle, I couldn't be happier,
You'd know you'd chosen the right team.
Yeah, if anything, that's a great sign, because it shows that they have passions in life and they follow them and they think I can make a difference here and I can contribute or give back in some silly little way, because they're never a monetary driven thing most of the time.
That's why they're called passion projects, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and often I get jealous when I hear about them. I'm like, I can't believe you do that, and I don't do that.
Wish I thought of that first.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of the questions that I ask for candidates, to be honest.
Okay.
But it's not a requirement. People have different things in lives.
Because they're interested.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you don't have to like come to us and you've got some sort of big thing going on outside of work. It's just that sense of I really love this thing, and I've done some little bits in a small way, or it's even maybe in your existing job, like you went above and beyond to go, okay, this is outside of my core job, but I could help with the company in this little way, and then you just get involved in that. It could be like maybe they're doing an event and you just got involved in that, even though that's not what you do day to day. It's just that sense of curiosity to better yourself, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there was someone watching this right now and they were thinking about joining Kaizen, and they were maybe an intern, entry level, or they've done a career change and they're quite new, or, you know, what would the kind of advice or what would you suggest they kind of look to do or add to their CV before applying?
Well, I wouldn't get hung up on going to university or having relevant experience in the bits that are there. I'd say that if you're really starting from scratch, especially and you want to pursue a career in marketing, then I would first look at the areas of marketing you're interested in and sort of demonstrating that to build up a bit of a portfolio in a way, the same way that you would in the design role, build up examples of it. It could be just that you make your own little blog, you know, or you have your own TikTok account, you know, about something that you love and you start doing it. Maybe no one even follows it, but you're starting to learn those raw communication skills of storytelling, narrative, how to like inform people on something that they should care about. And I think it's just thinking of what are the practical ways in which you can start demonstrating those skills, even if you don't necessarily have any other job experience on the CV. I am typically more interested in candidates that have maybe done 1 or 2 internships before. You know, not that is a requirement to me, but again, it just shows that that willingness to go out there and give short-term work a go, hopefully paid, in order to do it. But I'd say, what always helped me was that on my CV, I was like, I made this website, I made this social media account, and that always caught the attention of the employers way more than the fact that I worked at the co-op for a bit.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure. So just literally jump in. If you've got an idea or got something you're thinking about, just jump in and do it.
Yeah, don't get too hung up on it. It can be the worst website in the world, the worst social media account, but you gotta learn somehow how you're gonna get these skills, and they make you super employable because it just shows you're proactive and curious.
Just a bit of a sense of confidence as well. You're not afraid. 100%. Like, you know, it's when you put something on Instagram, I get nervous that no one's going to notice it, and that's such a
I'm terrified of this video.
Yeah, right.
Like it's at 2 views, you know, but it's something that's important to me to help other out, and I just got to give it a go and see what happens. You know,
what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
I'm currently studying a master's in marketing,
part-time.
Slagging
off universities.
Yeah, exactly. But let's not talk about it. It's fine. And I studied that part-time over 2 years, and I personally chose it because although I was working in agency and marketing, I kind of wanted to just study the more traditional aspects in the evening, just to give me a little bit more context and just basically to see kind of not what to do basically when it comes to digital marketing. Yeah. Because obviously it's so impossible to keep up with essays, frameworks, textbooks when it comes to digital because it's constantly changing.
On the job.
You know, when I was doing my undergrad, my job role now didn't really exist. You know, it changes so much. So that aside, what other kind of difficulties do you think universities can face when it comes to digital marketing?
I think if you're going to look to go to university, and I did enjoy it, I think that you need to look into a provider and challenge them in terms of, you know, as part of this course, what's the practical work experience of this? Yeah. Are you going to help support me at parts of the degree to go into workplace so I can understand the cutting edge things that are going in and going on right now? And then secondly, you want to get a sense of like what level of guest lecturers come in and experts come in, because I've been mindful of this, and I have over the past few months went back to university that I went to and others and thinking, well, maybe not, maybe I think I'm an idiot. But, you know, I would have loved it if there would have been a roster of folks that would have came in on a monthly basis that are coming from in workplace right now that can talk to me about TikTok or Twitch or OnlyFans, you know? And I think that would elevate the experience of doing a degree in something that is a relatively progressive field, you know. And then outside of that, if you're already in workplace, you know, yes, I think masters can be a great route for it if you're able to find a provider that can give you that foundational knowledge and do everything that I just described in terms of like guest lecturers and stuff. Then outside of that, there's places like General Assembly. General Assembly is a fantastic place that allows you to do digital marketing, front-end web, back-end web development courses. And the entire thing is structured by bringing in people that are working in those roles right now. And you can do that online, you can do that part-time as well. And the other thing that's been immense to me is conferences and courses. You know, there's no better places than looking at the industry you're in, looking at those talks and events that are happening and going to it. And it just allows you to get that continuous knowledge through it. Because, when you're on the job, you learn a lot on the job, but you don't, you get the work done, but you don't learn like the principles and the foundations and, you know, what's the right move here and what's the wrong move here that ultimately turn you into a well-rounded professional. But I think that's the right way to go.
So to wrap this up, for people that are watching now and they're thinking, should I go to university? Should I put some money aside and start saving for a course?
Yeah.
Should I dedicate my spare time to a side hustle? What would your kind of top line advice be?
If you like the idea of working in marketing, social media, PR, anything communications based, then I'd first look at building out my own personal practical skills. Build a terrible social media page around something you love, you know, or go to an event and meet folks that already do what you do. Start building that practical knowledge. And if you feel that you get more comfort from going to university or college through it, then you've got to look at, do they offer practical placements as part of this? You know, what is the graduate process? Are they going to get me to meet employers? And are they going to bring on guest lecturers on a continuous basis to help me understand what's going on in the workplace right now? And I think through that magic is more important than just the skill of, I know what affiliate marketing is. Answer paragraph, you know? Employees don't want that. They want that fact that you've been curious enough to teach yourself to do it, and then got ideas and around how it should be done, and you won't shut up talking about those ideas, that you're going to go pursue them. That's a really employable trait when you get any creative role.
Amazing. So I think we should probably wrap up here so everyone can go and make a TikTok account.
I don't know what mine will be on now. Game Boys.
Game
That's
Boys.
it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pete.
Cool.